Check it out. It's G from the Academy reminding you that health is wealth. But you know that already. Here's some information about statistics. You know that the numbers can basically mean anything that you want them to mean. It's all marketing. It's it's all a little game. It's all playing. You know that if you have one of something and you add another one to that, you could say I've got one more, or you could say I have 100% more. You understand the difference? It's all a numbers game. Anyway, here's the article. Fact, food kills more people than guns. Should we ban it? Obviously, we can't ban food, but the point is about focus and locus, that there are many more dangers which really are obvious, and yet we still miss them. We ignore very often what is right in front of us. Let's get into the article. A renowned forensic pathologist has made a fascinating yet somewhat obvious discovery with regard to the human form, mainly that people have gotten much fatter over the years, all things considered. In his book Unnatural Causes, Dr. Richard Shepard reveals some of the changes he's observed over the past several decades pertaining body compositions. Unlike the dead bodies he looked at back in the 1980s, today's corpses are notably larger. Obesity, Dr. Shepard warns, has burgeoned, is that the word? Burgeoned, yes, to a disastrous degree, and much of it we now know stems from the modern diet, which is loaded with genetically modified organisms, crop chemicals, and other poisons that are turning people into blimps before prematurely killing them. Excellent imagery, if still somewhat gross, right? Unless a patient is homeless or has died of cancer or is so old or poor they could not eat, few are the same shape as the dead of the 1980s when I started practicing. Quote, looking back at forensic photos from that era, I am astonished at how thinness was then the norm. Obesity rates have increased so dramatically that one expert describes it as a time bomb that has finally exploded, wreaking total havoc on healthcare systems, including those that are nationally run, such as the National Health Service (NHS) in the United Kingdom, which I will add was set up at the end of the Second World War in order to repair the damage done to the soldiers coming back from the war. Most things that governments set up as temporary become permanent. Diet and obesity-related illnesses such as type 2 diabetes and liver disease are skyrocketing, it's true, causing premature aging and death in many patients. The society is kind of divergent. There are those who are going to focus more on the fitness and health, and there are those who are just going to ignore it. For related news about the weaponization of the modern food supply, which is killing more people than perhaps ever before. Yes, be aware of what you're eating, please. There is a website, chemicalviolence.com. Yeah, check it out, check it out. In August, 53 people allegedly died from mass shootings. I'm going to highlight the word allegedly because who knows what's going on. Unless you were there and you saw it. What's that great line from the song? Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. Anyway, in August, 53 people allegedly died from mass shootings, while 40,000 died from obesity. The single largest killer on planet Earth is bad food, and it's just the consumption of the wrong things, basically. And we know what's right and we know what's wrong. Come on, people. You know, you know. As it turns out, more people are dying from the things they eat these days than from subjects such as gun violence, despite the latter being all over the news. I think this is related definitely to Western society, suggesting that it might be time for some common sense food control. I'm not sure I'm into that idea. Talk show host Bill Maher, of all people, addressed this disparity during a recent segment of his show, pointing out that in August, and don't you just love the way that um, people in media write about other people in the media as if everybody should automatically know who those people are? Uh, anyway, that's a personal point. In August, 53 Americans died from mass shootings, while during the same period of time, 40,000 died from obesity. Um, Frightening, frightening. It's the invisible statistic. Mayer went further to decry the politically correct notion of fat shaming, emphasizing that it does not need to end, but rather needs to make a comeback. Um, I don't support shaming people as the way forward because you don't know where that's going to end, right? You can shame people into sickness and really bad mental health, and it's not a good idea, although on a general society-wide scale, that's how society functions a lot of the time. Um, Mayer further stated some amount of shame is good. In Mayer's view, which isn't half bad, which means it is half bad, it's important to note some of the most successful public health campaigns throughout history have involved a level of shaming. So why not use this tactic to fight obesity? We shamed people out of smoking and into wearing seatbelts, Mayer says. Shame is the first step in reform. Don't agree with that. What's the first step in reform? A recognition of the problem? Um, Recognition of the effect of the action, maybe? If the left in politics is truly concerned about the welfare of children's lives, as it claims, then it would do better to focus its attention on diet rather than guns. After all, poor diet kills far more people than guns, and nothing is being done about it, despite there being no constitutional protection for junk food. Yeah, guns is not about guns, it's about control. Anyway, there is a constitutional protection for firearms. However, it's known as the Second Amendment, which clearly states in its verbiage that it shall not be infringed no matter how many alleged acts of gun violence are reported by the news media. Everyone's got a different opinion. I can see both sides, and I have an opinion as well. Being obese can't be good for global warming either. It's important to note the larger the person, the more he or she is creating heat that contributes to the global warming factor of our planet, at least according to the climate logic being spread by climate fanatics. I don't know, using one problem to solve another problem is probably just going to create another problem. Let's not forget that liberals also killed on average another 53,000 babies in the same time frame. This is reference to the abortion laws. Again, that's that that that's a powerfully independent debate where there's two sides that don't meet. You kind of either follow the belief or you follow the facts and the stats. Um, I'm not one for telling people what to do. Um, I think they can all make decisions for themselves. However, decision is influenced by information. So the question is, how much of your own thoughts are actually your own thoughts? But that's philosophical. Let's stick to the facts. Anyway, the article finishes by stating, of course, it's always guns that are the problem. The numbers clearly show, however, that we don't need gun control. We need other forms of control. There we go. Sources. Quote your sources for the article include The Sun, your tabloid of record, um, thesun.co.uk and naturalnews.com. This article was published on the 26th of September 2019, and as far as I can see, there is no official author, but you can find it at the website naturalnews.com. There's some controversial ideas in there for sure, but we definitely need to focus on diet, and we definitely need to focus on the types of information that we're spreading about food and health and well-being. Um, balance. Balance is part of the solution. Balance is one of the keys. So there's something to think about. Wherever you are today, whatever you're doing, have a great day, and remember that health is wealth.